Hi there, I'm Dr. Martin Benfield. I'm a GP and this is a video about medications that could be considered in insomnia. It's really aimed at people who've got problems with sleep and have not seen a doctor about it before, but were wondering whether there are any medications that could help them. It's not here to replace any advice that you've been given by a doctor specifically about your individual circumstances, and it's not really aimed at people who've got other conditions that are contributing to their sleep problems. So for example, if your sleep is affected because of depression, anxiety, pain affecting sleep, problems with breathing, sleep apnea, people drinking alcohol in excess, and drug use. I think the overall summary of these medications is there are no medications that work really well and without side effects, unfortunately. At best, they may give 1 to 2 hours extra sleep at night, but any medication that's strong enough to cause drowsiness, enough to send a person to sleep, will still be working the next day, causing drowsiness when the person's meant to be alert and awake. The other issue is that they tend to cause a non-refreshed sleep. They seem to sedate the person but affect the normal processes in the brain that leads to a person feeling refreshed the next day. A bit like if a person drank a lot of alcohol, they may sleep for many hours overnight but feel very tired the next day. So we've got two reasons why it doesn't actually make a person feel any better, and this was proven in a study where they took a group of people who had sleep issues. Half were given placebo and half were given sleeping tablets, and both groups reported exactly the same levels of alertness, drowsiness during the day. Now, the other issue kind of linked to that is that a person taking a medication like this shouldn't be driving. Unfortunately, they do impair driving ability, and this was proven in a study in 2013. Worryingly, in that study, the people whose skills were affected by sleeping tablets did not report being aware of this. They did not know that their driving skills were any worse than on days where they hadn't taken the tablet, which is worrying. So the commonest group that we tend to refer to as a sleeping tablet are the benzodiazepine group. Now that includes drugs like diazepam, which is also known as Valium, and temazepam. Also the Z drugs such as zopiclone. So they do at best increase a person's sleep by 1 to 2 hours, but as I said before, they do not make the person feel more alert or better for it. The additional issue with these drugs is that they cause tolerance. So this is where after a couple of weeks of use, the body starts getting used to the medication and the benefit of them starts to drop. In addition, the body is used to it, so when trying to stop the medications, they will start to feel very ill and so need a very slow withdrawal. There's both mental and physical addiction to these medications, very similar to being addicted to morphine. For that reason, they really shouldn't be used long term. At most, I tend to try not to use these medications. If a person really wants to try them, then what I usually do is prescribe enough for 5 days supply to use each day for 5 days, to try and get their day-night cycle back into a bit more sync, and then enough supply to use for about another week at alternate days or every third day to see if that can maintain the effect. The next group that is sometimes tried for sleep issues are the older type antihistamines. So these are not drugs like cetirizine, which you can get from the chemist for hay fever. These are an older version that cause drowsiness as a side effect. So they don't tend to get used for the allergy conditions anymore, but are sometimes prescribed before a person goes to bed because of their drowsiness side effect. They have all the same issues as the benzodiazepine group, probably without quite the same addiction issue. The third group that could be prescribed, but very rarely prescribed in the UK, is melatonin. Now, melatonin is a hormone which is released by the body, and it seems to act as a switch for the brain, turning the brain from being awake to asleep. It's not really a sedating medication, but if a person was ready to fall asleep, melatonin may be that switch that allows them to drop off. So it is only useful for people who where their main issue is not being able to fall asleep in the first place. It does not help people who are awake a lot during the night. It's just those ones who have a real trouble with falling asleep in the first place. It only has a license for people over the age of 55, and it can only be given for 3 months in a row before it has to be stopped. So if a person's over 55 and they're the only issue with sleep is that they can't drop off to sleep in the first place, then it can be used for a short period of time. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful, and thank you very much.